Hi everyone. I just wanted to take this opportunity to welcome you to Chemistry 105, Chemistry in Our Lives. Before I talk a little bit about the course, I just want to let you know you may be receiving the link to this video a little bit before your course starts. Don't worry, the course doesn't start until it's scheduled to start. We're just sending this out so that if people are interested, you have an opportunity to look at it, but you're not actually going to have to do anything until the official course start date. So please take a look at the schedule for your specific course when you're taking it in order so that you're ready to go when the class actually starts. So there are basically three topics that I want to talk about today. The first thing I want to do is I want to briefly review the syllabus. After that, I want to talk about the discussion boards because a lot of this course is going to be about posting things and stuff like that. And then finally, I want to talk about the final paper. But before I do that, I want to give you a little bit of a general overview of what this course is all about. So it's called Chemistry in Our Lives. It's a general education course that covers both your science, general education, and your challenges for the 21st century Gen Eds. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to look at how chemistry interacts with our everyday lives. We're going to start by learning some of the fundamentals of chemistry, such as what is a proton, neutron, and electron. Then we're going to focus on some different areas in which chemistry impacts all of us. The idea here is to give you some kind of an overview of the fact that chemistry is actually important to all of us, even though it doesn't seem like it. You may not know a chemist. You may not have ever talked to anybody who does chemistry before. But believe it or not, you use things every day that it's pretty important that we know chemistry in order to understand these products. So we're going to basically be discovering that together as we go throughout this course. As I mentioned a minute ago, this course is discussion based. So a lot of what we're going to do is learn from each other. And that's my single favorite thing about this course. There's lots of things I like about this course, but that's definitely my single favorite. So some of you may have quite a bit of experience in chemistry. Some of you may even be chemistry majors, other biology majors who have taken quite a bit of chemistry. And others of you might be interested in computer science or economics or English or history or whatever. But we're all going to have our own unique perspectives. And one of the whole goals of this course is to share your perspectives on the material that we commonly view together so that we can have a discussion and learn from each other. So in this course, there is no real teacher and no real student. We're all teachers and we're all students. So we're all going to be sharing our views, and other people are going to be reading about and learning from those views. So in that sense, we're teachers, but we're also students because we're going to read and learn about from other people's views. So that's kind of how the course works. All right, so I don't want to get too much into the philosophy of this, but that's basically what we're going to look at here. So the first thing, as promised, that I want to look at is the course syllabus. Now this is a generic syllabus with no dates, so theoretically I can use this video again, but please note that on Blackboard you can find a syllabus with your, all the information plugged in. So here is some of the course content. So first we're going to look at what is chemistry and what a chemist chemists do. Then, as promised, atoms, elements, and compounds, a brief history of chemistry, organic chemistry, environmental chemistry, medicinal chemistry, nanotechnology, and polymers. So this is kind of our outline of our course. This is when the unit's posts are going to be due and the unit responses are going to be due. And in the actual syllabus that you have in Blackboard, you're going to have a date column here so you can see when this works. So how this is essentially going to work is you're going to make a post about some commonly viewed materials. There is no textbook for this course. There is also no exams in this course. There is a final paper, but there are no exams. So it's going to be, most of your grade is going to be based on making these discussions. Now, what I want to tell you is, right off the bat, your discussion posts are effort-based. So if you make an honest effort to do a discussion post, you get credit for it. It's kind of like pass or fail or completed or not completed. The most common way that people don't make an honest effort to complete their posts is they copy and paste something off the internet. So please don't do that, okay? You also don't want to write something that's completely off topic, although that's never actually happened. So basically what you're going to do is for each unit, you're going to make a post, and then 2 days later, you're going to have a response to that post. Usually 2 days later. If there's a weekend in between, it may be somewhat different, or a holiday or whatever. So this is basically how it's going to work. you're also going to do a paper, and the paper is going to be broken into 3 parts. First, you're going to pick a paper topic and sources, and I'll talk about the paper more in a little bit later. Then you're going to write an outline a week later, and then a week later you're going to write your project. The reason write your actual paper. The reason we do it this way is there's plenty of opportunities for us to give you feedback, as opposed to you hand in a paper, then we give you feedback, and then nothing comes of that feedback. So when we give you feedback on your paper topic or your paper outline, please take that feedback and incorporate it into your final paper. I think that's kind of straightforward. So again, to go over the grading scheme, 45 of the points are from your posts. 22.5 points are from your responses. So somewhere around 70% of the grade, a little bit less, is overall just from the discussions. Discussion grading, again, is participation based. So if you participate, you should get full credit for all of this. Do note that you have to do it on time. Then the other 30%, roughly, a little bit, 32.5% of your grade is the paper. So you get 2.5 points for picking a topic, you get 10 points for doing your outline, and 20 points for doing your paper. So that's basically that. This goes through the posting rules, but generally speaking, you want to make a post that's 250 to 350 words and is doing a good job to kind of discuss the information that was presented and is not copied or pasted from the internet, which goes without saying, right? You can't do that in any class. You can't just copy somebody else's words and paste them. One thing I will tell you is when you're writing something in your own words, that means you interpret the idea and then write that idea. You may read the idea from somewhere else. You may read the idea from the common readings of the course. However, it's your job to write that in your own words, and this takes practice, okay? It doesn't mean changing a few words from he or she to they and stuff like that. That's not your own words. Your own words is you take the idea, then you write them. You write that same idea using your own terminology, your own verbiage, for lack of a better word. We're not super picky here, but what we don't want you to do is copy and paste from the internet, change a few words here or there, and then say, okay, well, this is my own words. That's not how it works, okay? And writing something in your own words is something that takes practice. When I was first starting out, it was a good idea for me to read something, then forget about it, said another way, go do something else, and then try to write it in my own words. Through practice, now I don't need to do that. All right, then post responses. So you're going to respond to at least one other student's posts. It says 2 here, but we only make you respond to one of your classmates' posts, and 100 or 150 words. Of course, it's natural to say, hey, I really liked your post, but don't make all 100 or 150 of your words how much you like the person's post. All right. What we'd like you to try to do is try to continue the conversation. Ask a question. The person is not required to respond to your question, but you could ask a question or give your take on what they said or something like that. And I'll talk about the final paper last. So before I do that, I want to talk a little bit more about the discussion posts, because these are the kind of thing that students often have questions about, and the main purpose of this video is to ease your concern about this. Again, they're graded as pass or fail, right? You do them or you don't do them. And the only way you can really fail is to copy and paste something from the internet, or copy something, change 2 words and paste it from the internet, that kind of stuff. So just make sure it's your own stuff. If it's your own stuff, you make an honest effort, you do it on time, it's between 250 and 350 words, you're good to go. Same for your responses. Responses are much harder to copy and paste. It's much easier to be original when you're responding to somebody else's stuff. So the very first thing you're going to do when the class starts is you're going to introduce yourself. And what we've given you is some ideas of things you might want to introduce about yourself. Now, what we are not expecting you to do, so this particular post is 100 words or less because you're just introducing yourself. What we do not want you to do is to copy these questions and answer them one by one. We want you to write a paragraph, okay, with complete sentences and all that good stuff, where you answer some of these. Now you may choose to answer all of them, okay? And in this case, it might not be that hard to do it. I notice I have to change this summer instead of winter. We offer this course in the winter as well. And here it may be possible to answer all these, but you're not required to do that. You could pick 3 of them. You could put your name and talk about something completely different that you feel is important for all of us to know, to get to know you. we're going to kind of get to know each other in this class as best we can, considering that it's online and it's all in writing, right? We're not going to use Zoom or something like this. So pick what you want, write a complete paragraph that introduces yourself in about 100 words. Now, what I also want to show you is that almost everything we're going to do is in this all course materials and discussions. Before I do that, I do want to show you that this is more like what yours is going to look like. Okay, you're not going to have all of the things that I have because mine's the instructor version, but almost everything you're going to do is in this all course materials and discussions. Since these are not all available right now, I'm going to go ahead and just turn it back to instructor view. So for week 1, we're going to do unit 1, and I'm going to describe this for unit 1. Now what you'll notice in unit 1 is we have all of these types of questions for every single unit. Again, for every single unit, these are your 250 word posts, not like the introduce yourself, which is only 100 words. But for every unit, you are going to go through and potentially answer some or a few of these questions. Most of the time in the unit topics, it's not going to be possible in 250 words to answer all of this. Okay, so pick something that interests you. So say that you watch a video or whatever, and there was some particular thing in that video that interests you, or you, in this case it says what is chemistry and what do chemists do. You have a friend who's a chemist, and you want to talk about that. Ignore our questions. That's totally fine as long as it's relevant. What we don't want you to do is copy these questions and answer them one at a time as sentences like it's a quiz. That's not the point. These questions are leading to get you thinking about, hey, what am I going to write about here? All right, they're designed to help you to think about what you're going to write about. Once you click on inside of here, what you're going to find is readings and videos. So there are readings, okay, that you can read about what is chemistry, the 5 branches of chemistry. What can you do with a chemistry degree, and what do chemists do and where do they work? So you can review some of this. Now, are we expecting you to read and memorize every single one of these? No, of course not. At a bare minimum, you should skim them all, okay, and read 2 or 3 of them. They're not long, all right? You could read all of this in 20 minutes. But that being said, the information is all available for you. There's no textbook. There's no need to go out onto the internet and find your own sources in this case. All right. There are also some videos. So you can watch these videos. Okay, we would like you to watch all the videos. And it'll give you some ideas of what chemists do. Once you've read and watched the videos, now you can start to formulate your 250 word post with these leading questions in mind that may or may not help you to formulate your post. The truth of the matter is they should help you to do that. Now I want to draw your attention to just one other type of unit, and that unit is unit 3, and there are a few like this, and they have this red on them. It says external source required, please read. So when we get to unit 3, we're going to ask you to talk about a famous scientist and their experiment that helped us our modern understanding of chemistry. And to help you to do that, we give you an entire list of chemistry history and what people did. So you could find, Robert Millikan. You could talk about the Millikan oil drop experiment, for example. But we give you a good idea of where to look. Here, an external source is required. So if you decide Robert Millikan's the person for you and you really want to find out what they did, just Google them, okay, and you can find out what they did. So we lead you down the path, okay, but then we expect you to pick somebody based on this very brief description of what they did that sounds interesting to you. Go find out something out about that person, spend 250 words, and teach the rest of us about it. And that's kind of how it works. Okay, so this is a little bit of a different, different unit. So this is how the course is going to go. And you're going to go through, you're going to make a post, then 2 days later, approximately 2 days later, you're going to respond to somebody's post, so on and so forth, and the course will repeat. Again, look at the calendar. The final thing that I want to talk about in this video, as promised, is the final paper. I am not going to talk extensively about the final paper before you're even really taking the course, right? You may be watching this sometime before you're going to take the course. And to do that, I want to look at the first one, your first job in the second week is to select a paper topic. So this is basically what I want to talk about. So the first thing that's going to be due about a week into the course, a week and a half into the course, is to select a paper topic, and then give us a brief description, 3 to 6 sentences, of what you would like to write about and 3 sources that you used to determine this. Okay, so this is basically what you're going to do. What I want to tell you is the more information you give us, the better the feedback we can give you. We are going to give you feedback within 48 hours on your post. So in order for you to pick a topic, it's probably pretty helpful for you to know what the paper is. So first, your paper is going to have 3 parts. Okay. Basically, you're going to have an introduction where you can talk about what your product is. So you're going to select a product and you're going to tell us what that product is used for. You want to touch on why you chose the product. Maybe it's something you use. Maybe it's something a family member uses. Maybe it's a drug that you had an uncle who took, or whatever. Okay, whatever you want to personalize it and why you chose that product. How do people use the product? Maybe some historical roots of the product, some other interesting facts. Notice that this is 200 to 300 words. We're not expecting a lot here. Okay, so you're not going to have this extensive history of the product. It's a few sentences, this kind of stuff. All right. The next thing you're going to want to talk about is chemistry's role in your product. You're going to want to choose 1 or 2 ways in which chemistry has played a role in your product. This may seem a little overwhelming at first because you may have never thought about how chemistry played a role in your product. To be honest with you, it's very hard to find a product where chemistry played no role. Okay, the example we have given before is golf balls. Well, golf balls have plastic in them, and plastic and polymers are right up chemist's alley. Okay, the materials used in golf balls are absolutely developed by chemists. Contact lenses is another example that I've seen. Sunscreen. Okay, I don't want to go on and on because I don't want to ruin all the ideas, but there's lots of different things, and we've given you some ideas here, where chemistry plays a role. Again, in 350 to 450 words, you're going to discuss chemistry's role in your product. I want to point out, because this is super important, you're not going to want to put all of the roles of chemistry in your product. Choose 1, maybe 2 if you're struggling to come up with 300 words, and really try to talk about it in a little bit of depth. So you want to limit the scope to 1 role of chemistry, right? You don't want to talk about every different type of polymer that's in a golf ball, for example. Pick 1, all right, and talk about chemistry's role in that. Then, because this is a challenges for the 21st century course, you want to talk about your product and society. And you might say, well, how can golf have any role on society? Well, people play golf, right? So just because people play golf has an impact on society, but you could choose exercise, right? Golf could be good exercise, especially maybe for people who are a little bit older. It gets them out and moving, and that's probably pretty good for people. Okay, you could talk about water contamination. Golf balls get hit into water supplies. Do they degrade and release chemicals into that water supply that may be bad for it? You could even talk about something like recycling. Okay, chemistries are made out of plastics. Plastics are often not super biodegradable, and you might want to talk about how golf balls are recycled. I know that you can buy used golf balls and things like this. I don't know other ways in which they're recycled off the top of my head, but again, you have 300 and 450 words. You don't want to choose all of those things I just said, okay? You want to focus in on one of those things and talk about that role impact on society of a golf ball, in my example. And then your conclusions, just summarizing your key findings. Again, it's only 200 words. So overall, you're going to have a paper that's 1,200 to 1,500 words covering these areas. These are non-negotiable. Okay, your paper must talk about chemistry's role in your product, and it must talk about your product in society. This is the science part. This is the challenges for the 21st century part. So it's very important that you pick a product where you can fit these things. Again, I think you'd be hard pressed to pick up actual physical thing that doesn't fit these things. Now, if your product is an idea or something like yoga, okay, even there you could probably bring in some biological way that chemistry has a role, but that's not a physical thing. It might be a little bit tougher. Okay, so these are basically what you're doing for the paper. Note that 1,200 to 1,500 words at first may seem like a lot, but it's really not that much. All right, so you're not going to go into great detail here, so you just want to limit your scope, as I've talked about before. And then finally, what I want to let you know about the paper is something I've already told you. You're going to do it in stages. So first you're going to pick a topic and give us a few sources. Then you're going to write an outline. Then you're going to write the paper. This is on purpose so we can give you feedback all along the way. Please make sure that you view the feedback. We're literally just going to respond to your post, just like we respond to many other posts that are there. And basically, use that feedback to help to develop your paper. Of course, the more information you give us, the better the feedback we can give you. So if you write your paper topic and it's just 3 words of what your topic is and then 3 web links for resources, that's really not going to give us a lot to give you feedback on. So this 3 to 6 sentences, or essentially 2 sentences for how you're going to cover each of these things, that's what we can give you feedback on. So think about those things when you write them, because we can give you better feedback if you have put some thought into what you're going to do. So this is basically the course. The final thing that I want to mention is about the practicality of grading. We will not grade discussion posts until responses are completed. All right. So if you do a discussion post and you see no grade there, that's normal. When you see the response post, which will be posted by myself or another person in charge of the course, that's when we usually will go ahead and grade the previous one, because then both the discussion post and the response were due, and then we'll post your grade. All right. Again, it's participation based, so don't panic if you don't see a grade. It just means we didn't get to it yet. We will get to it, I promise. All right, so I hope everyone has enjoys this course. I hope this video has given you a little bit of an idea of what's going on. I apologize that it did run a little bit long. So welcome to ACHM 105. We really look forward to working with you.